This is insanity. I wanted to do a video series on the Anthony Palma interrogation. This piece of shit sitting right here is Anthony Palma. He murdered a little girl that lived 2 doors down from him 18 years prior to this interrogation. Now it's clear that he believed he got away with the crime, but thank God for DNA evidence, which showed that he was the person. We'll watch the cops slowly reveal that information and fucking bring the world crashing down on this asshole as he deserves. Let's get started.
I run on nicotine and caffeine.
We're the same age, and I tell you anymore, I drink a lot of water. I had some stomach issues, and the doctor says drink water. It really helps with the indigestion real bad.
They're talking about
Chewing, I won't give it up.
everyday topics like
I can sleep through the
indigestion
night,
and
4 or 5 hours without
hydrating in order to alleviate the pain of that.
About 6
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, when
That's me.
when we fly, we have family out of state, so we have to fly there. The day before I leave, I start dehydrating myself. I can't stand to get on a plane and have to try to pee. And it never fails. I don't know if it's the cabin pressure or what. I can go pee 5 seconds before I get on. As soon as it gets up in the air, I gotta go pee. You know, and everyone, you're walking down the aisle, trying to
The
get
detectives
to the
just
alleyway.
making casual conversation about
Especially
needing
when
to
you
pee
gotta really go.
right after a flight takes off.
Yeah, so I've learned
This
to
is just to
dehydrate myself like crazy
gauge
before.
Palma and put him at ease and see what he's like
It
when
never fails. It never fails.
there's not that much
Seems like I drink
pressure
more at
being
night.
weighed upon
Whenever I go to
him.
bed, I have to have something right there. Because, I get up 2 or 3 times to do my nebulizer, and then you have to have
Nebulizer,
something to drink
so
to wash
Palma is just
yucking
a
this out, go down.
disgusting piece of shit, and I guess he's got sleep apnea.
Asthma real bad, and he starts wheezing, or he just, and we're fighting with the insurance company to get him one of those breathing things, so they can give him treatments at home.
I'm
instead of
talking
having to
about
go pay $1,000 at
A lot of
to get a breathing
old guy medical
The insurance company says, well, no, you gotta have a prescription.
anomalies and difficulties.
We're going,
You do.
Just building rapport.
Although both my machines were gave to me. You know, I didn't have to,
the steroid
Kudos
stuff
to
that
these
you put in,
detectives
you
for
have
being
to
able to
prescription
sit in front of
right? Is that how that works?
a child murderer
raw sulfate and something.
Okay.
and just being able to
Nice to you.
hold in their emotions
I know you
and
said no, but I was still guilty
and play the game.
in front of somebody, and I'm offering. Wade and them have a little advantage over me, Tony. They've met you before, and I want to I thank you for coming down here to talk to them.
Well, as a state employee, it's something we have to do.
Work for the
We
state.
have to abide by all
Well, we appreciate
law
it.
enforcement and all that.
And here's where we're kind of
Asshole. He's basically saying, yeah, I work for the state just like you guys.
First in Hatfield.
It's like the fucking Jim Roush
We're
I'm
going
in-
back, and we're
I'm in criminal
talking to a
justice
lot of people.
line.
And I know over the years,
You weren't there the first time they came down, were you?
you know,
No,
Okay.
I was with Miller the last time we came to talk to you about the other deal, but
you, over
So I think
17
both of
years,
these detectives,
I
they're
know
talking
you
about whether these detectives were there when
And
so
we wanted to talk to you about if you
the
could
case
kinda
first
tell me
was
17
started,
years
and it
ago
sounds like
how your
neither
life
of them
was, how
were.
that neighborhood was, what was going on in that neighborhood. I know I've read some of the reports that from the
Yeah,
interviews
white shirt
before,
detective
how
read the reports, so
it
he's
appears to me that you, they call you Uncle Tony around there.
it's kind of
because
leading
you're
off the
like,
investigation.
Well,
I'm not sure if he is the
Basically,
lead
when I
investigator
lived
at this
lived
point.
there was a bunch of older people. That was like not that no retirement place, but most of the people in that area were old retirees.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, I like doing stuff all the time, you know, I was always outside.
Yeah, we know what you
Somebody's
like
working on their
doing all the
vehicle, got to go
time,
be busy,
fucker.
hey, you know, and help them, or somebody's washing machine was broke down, and older people, you know, they can't, night older people, you know, can't do
This is
stuff.
where it
And
starts to
I've always
piss me
been
off with
mechanically inclined, you know. where I
Palma's
can
claim
figure
of
stuff
being
out, you know,
the helpful handyman down the
or,
road
you know, just,
that all
I've always
the
been,
that all the
well, not
neighbors can
friendly,
come
but
to for
neighborly.
Right.
mechanical
That'd be my first
assistance.
home,
Right.
you know.
He's
I'd
framing himself
make it
as
where that neighborhood was my home.
Well, did you help any
Like-
of the kids over there?
Well, when
Feed them?
Like, just-
yeah, I've always, there's
a
always,
folksy,
That's
helpful,
my
Kool-Aid house?
well, I don't know about Kool-Aid.
everyday
That's always been
Joe
my pet peeve, is I
that
grew
will
up hungry,
give you the shirt off his back.
you know, and I don't, there's a lot of kids hungry,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't like that.
Mhm.
I mean, not where I'd go out of my way.
He just said that there's a lot of kids hungry and he doesn't like that. So again, framing himself as a real humanitarian. Yeah, he's a fucking humanitarian like Thomas Shin was a humanitarian with his pita bag while he was trying to. That's a teacup reference. I don't know
Yeah,
there.
you're hungry, but I mean, you see kids, you're over there eating something, and they're just,
Right.
you know, you see them draw, here, take it. I
Right.
can't stand that.
Yeah.
And I'm like that now. I got 2 damn kids in my house, grown boys.
Yeah, you're such a great guy.
One, he says that when he was at his house, he didn't eat from Monday to Friday till he got to my house.
Wow. You know, that's one of those stories.
Yeah, you're
about-
Mr. Live Aid. You want to help starving children,
Before we
don't
get
you?
started here, Tony, let me go ahead and, I want to read you your Miranda warning, okay?
There you
You have the
go,
right to remain
Miranda.
silent.
Mirandize this
Anything you say can and
motherfucker.
may be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish one. And if you decide to make a statement, you can stop at any time. And do you understand each of those rights I've explained to you? Having those rights in mind, do you wish to talk to us?
Yep.
Okay. As my
It's a good read tactic right here. So you've got the two detectives kind of blocking the pathway to the door. They've got the suspect backed into a corner right here. So you got this triangulation of attacks from two different points on the suspect, and it looks like a sparse room that doesn't have jack shit inside of it. Nothing pleasant about it. Just to turn up the heat on this particular scumbag.
My partner, Lander, said we're still working on the Hatfield case, okay? And there's some things that we want to go back over with you. We try to be as thorough as we can be on cases like this, and I'd like to go back initially over some of what you've already talked to Detective Miller about in the past. I wasn't there. I'm kind of up to speed on some of it, but
I think both detectives have been upfront about how they weren't there during the initial investigation. I think that is additionally to put Palma at ease. Maybe that makes it so in Palma's mind, he's got two newbies here who are distanced from his actual crime, so he can pull a fast one.
my understanding is when Kirsten disappeared, you were still living there
Yes.
at 1104, correct? Okay. Do you mind just initially kind of take us back to 1997 and go back over that, maybe that evening before and into that morning when all of it all kind of started blowing up, and just best you can tell us everything you remember. And take your time. I know we're going back some years.
Yeah, I know. Starting to get that old timer stuff. But
Fuck you, Palma. Starting to get that old timer stuff. the old timer stuff being, let's see, how can I deceive these detectives and hide the fact that I'm a goddamn child killer? Is that the old time stuff that you're starting to get? Because I think you've had that for a shit long time, motherfucker.
Really, the only thing I can really remember is afterwards, when, 'cause it was just a typical day. Got off work, went home, had
Got off at
supper,
work, went
watched
home,
TV. When I
decided to murder a
used
child.
to, being a landscaper, my yard was my pride.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted to play in my yard because my yard was nothing but Bermuda.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
I had, I just had Bermuda grass.
Sure.
But I mean, not that they came over there, but that's what I did. I always worked on my yard.
Mm-hmm.
And
And back then, you said you were working at the Capitol.
Always work on your yard. How about not work? How about working on not being a sicko child predator killer?
So you were very experienced at keeping the yard
oh,
up.
I well, got chemical license off gas and all that.
Fuck your chemical license.
You remember anything about the day or evening before? You said it was just a typical day. You worked all day and then went home.
Again,
remember
just-
anything unusual about that evening?
I'm just a regular old hardworking landscaper.
Stands out to you.
No, other than what I told them about, seeing
collar,
the white truck, in front
simple
of
man.
the white Chevy truck in front of their yard.
Wouldn't hurt a fly.
Okay.
No, I like I said, I didn't have anything to do with those people. Didn't know them at all. It's not like
Classic distancing right there. Didn't know those people. Didn't have anything to do with them. Well, you clearly had something to do with them. What you had to do with them was the one thing that you did, asshole. And that's the problem.
I went, hey, yeah, you got little girls? No, it wasn't like that.
Okay.
I was outside working on my yard, either talking to the neighbors or kids. or somebody, "Tony, can
Probably
you take
casing
my
the
bike?"
kids on your
stuff
street.
like that. It wasn't like I'd tell them to come over or anything. I wouldn't go to other people's houses unless, I was needed or something like that. But everybody just got,
We'll see about that.
oh, Tony will fix your bike and blah, 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 And I tried to make it feel like, that was kind of a safe place, for. Because I
Fucking
had
safe
Christy
place.
at the time. She wasn't
This is
there
just a
during
vile
that time. But
piece
I
of
had
shit.
Christy there since she was, small. And whenever she was there, the kids would come and play with her. And,
Now, who is Tristy? I don't know.
she was one of my girlfriend's daughters
Okay.
that stayed with me a lot.
Okay.
One of his girlfriend's daughters stayed with them. And I think I saw in the opening placard on this video that there were claims that, he molested her too. Yeah, big fucking surprise. Just absolutely disgusting that any child would have to live with this monster.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Was she?
And her mom, yeah.
Who was mom?
Mom's dead, unfortunately. Melody, I wonder which name she wanted to go to. Howell.
How
She
old
had
is
two
Tristy
daughters.
now? Grown, I'm assuming.
Yeah, about 30.
Okay.
No, we don't talk that much anymore because everybody's into this computer stuff and that's how
You
we
don't
communicate-
talk to her that
communicate.
much, probably
But my
because she
daughter was looking on
remembers
her
that you're
Facebook, and
the
she sent us a text that she was fixing to have
goddamn
that I'm a grandpa.
pedo that molested
The
her
other daughter.
when she had to live with you defenselessly.
You said you didn't know them. I'm assuming you're meaning Shannon and
Yeah.
Thurston?
Yeah.
Or
And I couldn't even tell you how long they lived there.
Okay.
No one's asking how long they lived there.
So you didn't know how long they'd been living there when this happened?
It's all these guilty suspects that will try to answer questions that no one poses. Stephanie Lazarus does that same shit where she'll just ask rhetorical questions to herself out of the blue that investigators are not even querying her about. It's some kind of weird tick that guilty people get when they're in the hot seat.
I going to think they hadn't been there very long.
And tell me what you remember about that. Do you remember seeing them move in or anything?
No. I'm trying to remember, a friend of mine lived in that house. I can't remember what his damn name is, but he had a janitorial service, Janny King, and I'd visit with him.
Now this asshole is talking about the victim's house prior to her family moving in. He had a friend that lived in that same house. Now he's going to go off on a tangent about his friend. Basically, he's just trying to spin a yarn. He's basically trying to go off on a tangent so to take a little bit of the pressure off, and at the same time present himself as being forthcoming about information. No one's asking about your friend, idiot.
I helped him put the fence up around his house. Helped him. In fact, his boy come up missing one day.
Really?
Yeah.
No one cares,
7 or 8,
Palma.
or younger than that. And we went looking everywhere for him. We finally found him. He was under the bed. Went to sleep and crawled underneath the bed. But I mean, everybody was freaking. We had Midwest City out there, and
this
of course,
scumbag
everybody
is
in the
now
neighborhood
talking
was out
about
there looking. Me and him were,
another
going
missing
up the
child
street,
from the
hollering his
neighborhood.
name, and
I think it was
calls.
maybe
Yeah, we found him. He's
the
under
child
the
of his
bed.
friend that
After
lived in that
we
house
learned
that
that
the
early
victim's
on.
family eventually
Yeah,
moved
we
into.
did, yeah.
But that child was
Check
found
on
safe.
closets, check out in the boat,
And
in the
it's
backyard,
particularly
shed,
disturbing and scummy that
So
he's
you're saying
bringing
this
that
friend of yours lived
missing
at,
child situation
the
up.
house where
Right.
Shannon and Kirsten lived?
Right.
Okay. And was that immediately before them, or do you know? Do you remember?
I hate this goddamn pose right here with the hand on the forehead, like he's thinking so hard. He's got nothing but deceit and fabrication going on in his mind. There's nothing to think about. He's thinking
I
about
don't
what
remember
information to
the
give up
picture.
versus
I
not.
don't remember if after he moved out, if there had been somebody in that house before they did, or what. I don't remember.
You remember that guy's name? You said you did.
William was his first name.
Okay.
So the detective's kind of going along with it. He's
A while back.
And you said you
inquiring a
helped put
little bit
fence
about this
around
yarn
the
that
property. So we're talking about the
fucking Palma
stockade
is
fence in the back?
off
Yeah.
about.
So you and William put that up?
Yeah. Plank
He's
at
talking about a
time.
fence that him and his
The
friend
old
put up.
way.
Yeah.
Make it look
Stick-
nice that way,
Stick
though.
at the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Dude,
actually, we had
fuck
to put it up
you
twice 'cause we had a storm
and fuck
coming
that
in
fence.
One side all the way back down. So we had to go put it back up.
Mhm.
We got him to finally put the steel, the metal, holes. Yeah.
God damn it.
Okay. So, had you ever been inside that house when that gentleman lived there, William?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's been
I
inside
don't recall his name, but he
the
owned or
house
worked for Janny King.
I think he had a,
prior to the victim's
call
family
it?
moving
You
in,
know,
so he obviously knew the layout.
anyway, yeah. he-
It's just
Janitorial service?
Yeah, it was a
goddamn
janitorial
disturbing to
service,
think
but,
about.
You can have a piece of that company, but you still be the company that you're doing.
Jesus
all
Christ.
the
Now he's
rest
talking
there.
about.
That's the
um,
figure I was looking for.
I think now he's talking about the
So you
employment
never, I'm assuming you
situation of his
probably
friend that
saw
lived there.
Shannon and Kirsten running around the neighborhood and so forth.
To tell you the truth, until that happened, I think I seen the kid one time. She was playing with Crystal that lived up the street, but I don't remember if it was in that time frame or what. I don't really know, because like I said, I didn't pay no attention.
Okay. Do you remember ever like giving food to Kirsten
Oh,
or
no.
talking to Kirsten?
No.
Was she ever at your house?
No.
Anything like
No.
that? Okay. And do you
I'm
remember?
I'm actually a leery guy until, people start coming around,
You're a leery guy.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone should be leery
No,
of you.
Yeah.
But I didn't know.
You have no reason to be leery. People have a reason to be leery of
who
you.
was there or who they were, things like that in my world just fall in place. We accidentally meet. Oh, okay. Now I know you.
Right.
Then, but no, never.
Do you ever recall helping Kirsten with her bike
No.
or anything? You don't remember any interactions with her at
No.
all?
No, I know there wasn't any interactions. I didn't know them at all. And like I said, I don't.
Again, like classic distancing. he first posed himself as the neighborhood helper, the Hank Hill, the handyman that could do anything with a tool. And now the detective's asking, okay, well, did the victim ever come over and ask for assistance with like her bike or anything? And he's just putting them off. He's basically saying, no, I know nothing about them. They might as well lived on the moon. So he's Mr. Center of the neighborhood, but yet he knows absolutely nothing about this family that moved into the same house that a buddy of his formerly lived in, and they used to hang out together. Just
I don't even know how
unbelievable.
long they've been living there until that happened.
Okay.
Because I was always, me, that was back when I was fishing. I'd usually come off of work.
Now he's going
go to
off
the
on
boat,
fishing.
Go to Drummond. And sometimes I'd stay there all night.
Mhm.
But I'd always have, second jobs, after hour jobs, either landscaping.
Okay,
or
now he's talking about
anything
second
like
jobs that he's had. He's talking about everything except for being a
I'm pretty
scumbag
sure
child
that
murderer.
Miller
That's what
was
we're all
before,
here
but
for,
am I
Palma.
correct that you said
Talk about that,
you've
you
never been over
asshole.
there mowing for Shannon or
No,
working on
never.
her property or, okay, seems like that come up, somebody thought you might have been mowing over there or something.
No one gives a fuck
No,
what
he
you
was
did
asking
in your second
about
job
About a handyman.
or where you
What he
went
was
to go
asking me about.
Okay.
pull trout out of a
Do you
river,
remember ever mowing over there or
motherfucker.
anything like that?
No.
Okay. While they lived there, do you remember ever being in the yard, the front or backyard for any reason? Okay, how about in the house?
Nope.
Yeah, they're setting him up right there. They found his
So there was
DNA.
never any time that
In the
Shannon asked
backyard.
for help to fix
And,
this or that or mow the yard
I
for
think
me or?
in the window of the house, in Kirsten's bedroom
Just tell you
window.
the truth,
So they're setting him up. They
Yeah, we
basically
did, and I
said,
didn't even
"Have you?
recognize
Were you
when
ever
y'all showed
there?"
me the
And he's
pictures of
saying,
it.
"No, absolutely not."
That was the only time I could actually say, okay, that's. I met her once afterwards. She was going up and down the street and, she was still looking for her kid and, I met her once. I gave her some money so she'd have gas money so she could keep.
This piece of shit right here. He basically said that the victim's mother was walking up and down the street while looking for her daughter, and then he offered her gas money, like he's a good fucking Samaritan. If that really happened, if that interaction really happened, then this guy who was later murdered in prison, he got off easy. He should have been filleted alive.
Keep doing what she was doing,
Was this like in the days after or
Yeah,
we're talking a long
days
time?
after.
Yeah, so days after.
Let me bounce
You
back
got
a
this
little bit.
desperate
Well,
mother walking up and down the street, and the killer had the fucking just the wanton mayhem to interact with her.
But off track, I was kind of having you go back over what you remembered through the night, and I read over the FBI notes that they took when they talked to you. I guess there was some information about you hearing dogs barking.
Yeah, I had a dog in the backyard. His name was Dog. About 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, he went to raising hell. So I just, believe it or not, in my neighborhood, we still got skunks and possums and stuff like that, plus other dogs,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why that woke me up, but because I usually didn't wake up, and usually he's out inside anyway. But it woke me up.
Yeah, that's all fabricated bullshit. He's basically saying on the night of the murder, the only thing he remembers is dog barking because they have wildlife in that neighborhood, and he told a dog to shut up and come back inside. So no, the only thing that happened that night was you went over and murdered a child. That's the only thing that happened. And how dare you sit and fabricate this false lead to try to get detectives off your case and off your trail. You
Yeah.
deserve to die in prison.
And he was barking at that back fence.
Get
at
killed
our
in
back
prison.
fence. But at the time, as you walk out my back door, I had an old apricot tree. So unless you
I should be
went
giving
out
him
there,
medal.
you know, you couldn't see. And I just hollered at him because, you know, thinking there was another dog, because there was always, and traffic, there was human traffic back there. But usually there was
alley
other
we're talking
dogs,
about.
yeah. There was other dogs or cats, and there was always animals through there. So I just, you know, I really didn't think nothing about it. I just hollered at him, and he came in, and I went back to bed.
So you actually let him back into the
Yeah.
house?
Yeah.
So you opened, your back door, I'm assuming, and let him in? Did you go investigate?
No.
Did you look down the alley?
No.
Anything like that?
No, because usually in the past, whenever I did, that's what it was, you know, either another dog or people use that alleyway, you know, to get through. Why, I don't know, because I mean, I don't know where you'd be going other than from house to house, but there was always.
So he basically just refuted his own little mini story. He had the story about his dog going out and barking, and how there was human and animal traffic in the alleyway, and then he basically says, "Oh, I don't know why there would be, because it's not a pathway to anywhere." This guy is
Always, but there was
a
traffic.
total piece of shit.
And speaking of the alleyway, did you have any kind of a gate or anything that went out to it? So you didn't have access?
Yes, there's no gate. There's no reason for anyone to be back there. So if your dog was barking, you would have gone out and investigated to see what the hell was going on.
It seems like everybody had a gate.
Well, the house next door to me didn't have a fence. So whenever I weed eated or, you know, did whatever, because I always weed eated, you know, 2 foot around from my fence, you know. next
Tell us
door, and
more
then
about
the
your
alleyway
fucking
was-
landscaping
alleyway was-
skills, you
When I
asshole.
read your statement, you said you saw your gate ajar. Which gate was that?
Gate ajar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got him on a statement that he made previously that
They're on the
doesn't
side.
add up now to his whole.
Side of the house?
Yeah, we got a gate.
There's no
well,
gate
it's-
in my fence.
Yeah, it's a gate, but no, it wasn't ajar.
Now it is a gate. So is it a gate,
It-
or is there not a
anything
gate?
else that night after you let dog back in, did anything else occur that you remember?
Yeah, detectives
No,
didn't
I
really
went back to bed.
jump on him for that. They're kind of
Okay.
they want
And
to
then
keep him at
when did you
ease.
first become aware of?
They're just
person
moving on to other
missing,
topics.
all that's going on?
Well, the next day, there was all that activity, and I asked the neighbor across the street what was going on. They said they couldn't find Kirsten, and I didn't think nothing about it, you know. I went to work, and then I don't remember if she called me or I called over there or what, and they said
This
they want
dirtbag
people
went to
back,
work
you know, because they
the
wanted to
morning
go
after.
to our houses and blah blah blah. So clocked out, came back home.
Do you remember what time it was that you clocked out, came back home? Was this morning? Was this
It
afternoon?
was probably mid morning, something like that.
Now, who was the friend that you were communicating with?
It was and I don't know what her name is. Y'all showed me a picture of her.
Okay.
I think y'all showed me a picture of her. Anyway, of her husband, Don.
Is this the Holseys, Tiffany Holsey and Don Holsey?
I
Or do you
guess,
know?
yeah.
I'm not sure if Mr. Holsey is Don or not. Did you have
Well, somebody
other?
had called me, said that we were wanted back at our house.
Okay.
So I came home.
So you went to
And then
work,
what
and then
I just
Um,
sat there.
someone else in the neighborhood called him and
Our
said,
officers,
"Get your ass back here. The cops
It
want
was
to talk to
FBI.
everybody."
Yeah.
Okay.
You came in, took statements, you know, walked through the house, and you know, wanted to go in the backyard, and you know, 'cause I had a
Interesting.
shed back
So,
there. Wanted to look in the shed. And,
Okay. So he did look through the house.
so
and get to
like the
shed?
responding officers,
Probably don't
or
remember who that was.
yeah, probably just the responding officers did search his
And
house,
did
or
he-
did a
Was he
walkthrough,
just asking you general questions?
Just probably
about
more or
Kirsten,
less
and did you
looking
know
for
her,
the
have you
child
seen her,
versus
that kind of thing,
looking
or
for any evidence that he's the
did you write
scumbag
up a
murderer
statement
that he
for
is.
him, or did he,
No,
was
he
it just
wrote
a
up-
conversation?
thought he brought up a statement.
Okay.
But he asked me if he'd come in, he wanted, you know, asked me what I knew, which at the time really wasn't anything. He said they was going through canvassing the neighborhood and,
Yeah.
you know, asking everybody and.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna stop it here. I'll see you in the next part.